Welcome back. So that's where we will start off from here in Lagos about the distribution of the permanent voter cards. We're joined this morning by Mr. Akion Rebeyi, the resident electoral commissioner in Lagos. Thank you for coming on this morning.
Good morning. Thank you for having me again.
All right. Give us an update on what has changed and how are you preparing for these elections in Lagos?
Well, a lot of things have changed. In the first place, more people have come out to collect their cards. Since the last time I was here, we were talking, I think about 4 or 5 weeks ago, about 42% collection rate. But at the moment, we now have a 65% collection rate now. About 3.67 million people in Lagos at the moment have collected their cards.
3.67.
Yes.
Okay, well, that's an update because on February 17th, we had 3.685, that's about 62.40% collected the PVCs. And the figure didn't actually change. February 23rd.
I'm not too sure you got the
well, this is what we have from the Electoral Commission. Okay, so that has changed.
It has changed.
As of today.
Because people keep coming out to collect their cards.
And did you upload this information to INEC at the center so that they can in turn distribute it to the entire
every
country?
day. We have a checklist, and every day we give a feedback.
Okay, so we'll expect some updates from them at the moment. So what's the outstanding figure?
Outstanding now that we have in Lagos is about 1.8 million cards.
In your custody that has not been collected? And then the ones you're expecting from?
430,000.
And do you expect to get this before the 8th of March?
Oh, definitely we should. We've been given an assurance that we get them. And on Monday, we sent our HOD ICT to Abuja to go and sit down with them and ensure that these cards were ready before she would come back. And we keep talking on phone every day. As of yesterday, they're working on the outstanding ones. I think by next week we should have them. And what we've done is to declare, to go back to the polling units this weekend from today, tomorrow and Sunday. We'll be at the polling units again to distribute the cards. Then next weekend again, March 6, March 7, March 8, we'll be at the polling units again.
So you're back to the polling units now?
We have people registered.
For this weekend and next weekend.
We're talking about the places
where
we registered.
Going to vote.
Where you going to vote
on election day.
That's where you can go.
That's
and
what we call the polling
weekends.
Units. Yes.
What about weekdays?
Our office, local government office.
Okay, so it would seem that INEC is not looking at an extension for the collection of permanent voter cards.
I wouldn't say that. I wouldn't know. Let me just say this. And even if we are considering that, we'd rather encourage our people to stick to March 8. If you extend again, people may then relax. But let's see how things go by next week.
But you have people who have also, the complaints come in regularly about them going to the PUs or the local government offices, and then they tell them, your name is not even on the data, even though they said, look, we have our TVCs. In those circumstances, what can be the case?
I don't think we should be going back to that issue. Because
even
we've
though
said
they have their
again,
TVCs.
The TVC is precisely what we called it, temporary voters card. In 2011, when we gave people temporary voters cards, it was meant to be used temporarily. We never said to be useful in 2015. And what we did in 2011 was to give practically everybody that came out to register the cards, whether their names were on our database or not. When we registered people in 2011, it was on 2 levels. First of all, on our computer system, and 2, we had a manual register, a backup, which we used then. And those names that were not eventually captured on our system, we used the manual register to print out voters' cards for them. But in 2015, we said this will not work. We need the biometrics of practically every single voter because we'll be using the permanent voters card, which is a smart card, which has a chip. You cannot use the manual register to upload details, the biometric data. You don't even have biometric data anyway on the manual register. So we had to put off the manual register and invited people to come out again last year to re-register. So once we've done that, that temporary voters card is no longer valid. It can't be used. So advocates of let's use temporary voters card, apparently they don't seem to understand what's at stake. We can't go back to it. We can't.
Speak to this matter. Pardon me. Darlington Opeblo says, why are there deliberate attempts to deny non-indigenous access to their PVC?
I would rather Darlington come up with some evidence, because I've heard these stories making the rounds, but we've also done our investigation. There's not a single confirmation. Last week, Thursday, a group of protesters came to the office. They did us a letter, we spoke at length, complaining about this. And last Wednesday, I went to see them. I had a meeting with them at Jeremy Feludon. It was a very useful town hall meeting. Eventually, what turned out was that you had people who had delays in collecting their cards. There was a particular woman who is of Igbo stock. She said, as somebody saw her card, and the next day she went there for the collection of the card, but she was told they couldn't find her card. She went the second day, the third day, and on the third day she insisted on waiting patiently, and they said they went through every single card. Eventually, towards evening, her card was found. There was a mix-up. And the woman came out at the town hall to say, this was what happened. She was not denied her card. Another woman also came up, another person from Southeast, to say about the same thing. So if you had issues with sorting of cards, if you had issues with the cards that are still outstanding, coming from Abuja, people should not deliberately misinterpret this as denying certain parts of the country the collection of their cards. In the first place, we didn't register people on the basis of where they came from. People were registered virtually because they live in a particular environment. And therefore, when the cards also came out, it was on that basis we've been distributing. INEC, the way it is constituted, is a pan-Nigerian commission. I may be from the Southwest. The next person to me, the administrative secretary, is from the South-South. The head of voter education in Lagos is from the Southeast. Out of the 20 electoral officers we have in Lagos, 5 of them are from the Southeast. And incidentally, some of them also are heads of local governments where we are still expecting cards, where people keep on telling stories that we are denying them the collection of their cards.